Illinois fans had a good amount to be excited about on Friday as things started to trend more favorably for Illinois to land John Blackwell coming up this transfer portal. Well, not coming up, it is a transfer portal cycle right now. Me and Sunny talked about him in our roster construction video a little bit, but now with more details coming out, it sounds like with John Blackwell having his top six out there now, you're looking at what is it? Alabama, Arizona, UCLA, Louisville, Duke, and Illinois are the top six right now in this situation. That was reported by Draft Express out there on Twitter. A lot of good stuff from them. And this is a good situation here for Illinois, as it sounds like the top two contenders right now are Illinois and Duke. And if you look at the transfer portal prediction machine here, Illinois actually leads in this situation over Duke, and for good reason. I mean, the Wisconsin star John Blackwell is in the transfer portal, and the recruiting prediction machine, among other rumors, say that Illinois is leading the pack right now. And this isn't a rumor. This isn't rumor mill stuff. It's intel from him, his conversations, of the people putting intel out there. So this is a really good situation for Illinois, and I think that Illinois fans, I wouldn't say can get their hopes up here, but I think can probably be a little bit less dismissive of the John Blackwell ad than they were before, right? I think there were a good amount of Illinois fans that were like, okay, we're going to be cautiously optimistic here, but we don't want to get too much into it. I'm not saying you go, make a sign for John Blackwell or anything right now, but I do think you can start taking this much more seriously than maybe you did before. For me personally, from kind of what I know a little bit, I'd say it's probably more neck and neck. I would say maybe Illinois has a little bit of a slight lead here, but this is still a pretty neck and neck situation. Now, I did talk to a Wisconsin insider, somebody who has good knowledge of the Wisconsin basketball program and knows some of the people over there, just here on Friday as we started to get some of this news. And I said, hey, what are you thinking here? What's going on? And what are some of your thoughts? He didn't want me to name names or anything because that's just what he wanted. But overall, he told me that he feels like this is a really good situation for Illinois, based on what he's seen and based on kind of knowing what he knows about John Blackwell. His father is very important to him, so the opportunity to play where his father played at is huge. And we've been saying it on this channel a number of times, like the Final Four really did do a lot for this Illinois program. Really did a lot for the fan base, really did a lot for the national spotlight on this Illinois program as well, and the opportunity to bring back all these players. I mean, you see some of these graphics out there of like only so many teams haven't had a single player enter the portal. Now, Illinois has not had anybody say they're returning yet. I expect we'll probably hear some stuff here soon. I don't think Illinois wants to wait too long before they get some retention news out there. And retention news also kind of helps build things up a little bit. For a guy like John Blackwell, if he hears that Jake Davis is coming back, if he hears that David Mirkovic is coming back, then you can start having very real conversations and say, all right, we're going to put you next to this guy. Here's kind of what you can expect. And in this situation, I think he would love to play with a bunch of guys like that. Andrej Stojakovic, I think, is a guy that he would love to play with. Stojakovic is more likely to come back now than I think some people were anticipating. There's a little bit of rumors and stuff out there that maybe he's not leaving, and I would say it's probably above 50% chance at this point. Andre had the most fun that he has ever had playing basketball this season. It looked like the joy that he played with, the celebrating that he had, and for him to not play for a Cal, not play for a Stanford, where it really is just kind of me on the court, but actually go out there and play in games that I don't want to say games that matter. Obviously, every game you play matters, but games that have more of a national spotlight on them in the NCAA tournament and the Big Ten and everything out there, and being able to be challenged the way that he was as well. I do think that we have a pretty real situation here where we need to pay attention to the NBA, for not just John Blackwell, but Andrej Stojakovic as well. Now, I don't think Andrej Stojakovic has the developed enough game yet to really, break into an NBA roster. I think if he went to the draft, he would probably be drafted as more of a G leaguer at this point. But that's nothing to be upset about either. And some guys just aren't made for college. Some guys just want to get out of the college experience. So it's one of the reasons why I feel like Andrej Stojakovic is more likely to come back to Illinois but we'll see. But I do think that that decision is going to be huge because I think you are going to need some of these retention announcements before we get John Blackwell is coming to Illinois. And we don't even know if he's coming to Illinois yet. Unfortunately for Illinois, is Duke is going through some similar stuff as well, right? A program like Duke, they got freshmen who come in, they got freshmen who leave after 1 year, and so the roster, maybe it's figured out, but typically in those situations, you have a roster that maybe people look at with more potential rather than proven production at this point. And I think if you're a guy like John Blackwell, who's going to be going into his senior season, you want something as surefire to be a contender as much as you possibly can. Although, yes, Wisconsin did beat Illinois last season. John Blackwell played against this Illinois team and saw firsthand the skill that they have, the size that they have. Now, this Illinois team is not going to be as long and have as much size as they had last season. You're looking at replacing guys like Ben Hummerkaus with some other shorter, maybe less athletic guys. Possibly, you're looking at replacing a guy like Keaton Wagler, who's 6'7", with a guy like John Blackwell, who's 6'3". But Kylan Boswell, he was about the same size as John Blackwell too. So if they're able to go out there and get another 6'7", 6'6" type of guy, then you could actually have some similar, size here to what you had last season. Just maybe not off the bench as much. So, but it's a very interesting situation here, how this all is unfolding. I think a lot of people are kind of hesitant to say who leads a certain way right now. I obviously, favor Illinois a little bit more in this situation with how I've talked about it and the things that I think are going on in this whole situation. But overall, nobody knows what John Blackwell is gonna do because I don't think John Blackwell knows what he's gonna do yet. Now, I will say Illinois is pushing to try and get John Blackwell on campus at some point, and, the way things work in the transfer portal, we're getting a whole lot less news about visits this year than we have before, and one of the reasons why is because, when a guy goes on a visit, the first discussion point on the next one is, okay, how much did they offer you? Because we got to now combat with whatever they offer, whatever type of money they offered for you. And so I don't think that Illinois is going to be one of those teams that tries to put too much stuff out there. There might be some stuff behind the scenes and stuff like that, but I don't think they're going to try to put too much stuff out there, especially with the national guys. Indiana, they do all that stuff. A number of other teams, Louisville, they go out there with all that stuff as well. But I think Illinois is going to be the type of program moves a little bit quieter. They're obviously going to be loud with their retention conversations and the decisions that are made there with retention. But overall, I think this is a situation where John Blackwell, if he does visit Illinois, I would be surprised if we get big reports coming out on Twitter and X and stuff like that. I think this would be a situation where they would probably try to keep it on the DL as much as they possibly can, just because when you have that happen, it's going to be very interesting. And I've also seen some people out there say that Illinois is not in a situation where maybe they can spend as much as a Duke can or something like that. The figure everybody's throwing around is $5 million. Those figures just get thrown around. Nobody actually knows. They can say the agent can tell this person that, but guess what? The agent is always going to say the highest possible dollar number. That's what they do. They're trying to get the biggest payday they possibly can. So that's probably like the high end ceiling of it. But overall, it wasn't just for perception and recognition that Illinois went to the Final Four. It was also for, a lot of donations and a lot of investment into the program and other stuff. There's a lot of people that questioned if Brad Underwood could get a team to the Final Four, if he could get a team to compete for a national championship. And we saw the Elite Eight 2 years ago. We saw the Final Four this season. It's pretty clear that Brad Underwood is a coach that can compete for a national championship for you. And Illinois fans should be very excited about that and very excited about the opportunity of some more financials coming in for the roster budget next season as well. Let me know what your thoughts are here on John Blackwell. Do you want him to come in to Illinois? Would you rather them go after somebody else? There's been another guy we mentioned was Stephon Box in the previous episode. I could actually see them going after Vox and Blackwell together. Vox doesn't have much of a defensive game. Blackwell does have more of a defensive game. I know Wisconsin fans will try to tell you that he doesn't play defense and he's bad at defense, but you know what? North Carolina also told Michigan fans that Elliot Cadeau stunk, and look how that worked out for him. So I don't get the whole thing of, like, listening to other fan bases try to evaluate guys. You know, if you can get a guy who is, or guy or gal who's pretty objective and not gonna be super biased, then yeah, sure, listen to them, see what they got to say. But a lot of these fan bases are, objective is not the, word I would use to describe many many fans out there. And so they're gonna try to, downplay the guy as much as they possibly can. And I'm not trying to say John Blackwell was a perfect player or anything like that, but I am saying that I do think that there's probably some more defensive potential there. And I've seen it. I saw it his sophomore year. I saw it his freshman year. He's utilized a lot defensively his freshman season. If he comes to Illinois, he would definitely be somebody that would be a top tier defender for them and somebody who would be utilized in that way. We'll see what happens. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section below. We appreciate you being here with Talk Illini, part of the Orange and Blue News of the On3 Network. Like, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and we'll see you next time here on Talk Illini.